So the next and final one of my favorite movies ever, Fight Club, from 1999.
Nice.
On Wednesday, August 15th.
Okay.
At the Grand Hyatt.
That's gonna be a good one.
If you didn't hear us before, it's actually on the rooftop, and they have lounge chairs.
That's awesome.
And then if you have a loved one or someone who you like snuggling with, they have these things called love seats.
Oh.
That you can check out together.
I hope those are sanitized.
Yeah.
Hey, someone getting down and dirty up on the rooftop.
Oh, James.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, people gotta do what they gotta do.
On that note, we're gonna get into our main focus.
Oh yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
All right, so we are talking about The Thing.
Yes.
It's rated R. It runs at 109 minutes. It's a horror sci-fi / mystery film directed by the fantastic John Carpenter, written by Bill Lancaster, starring Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, T.K. Carter, David Clinton, and Keith David.
Oh yeah.
Amongst a ton of other
star-studded cast.
Yes. For the synopsis, I have: in a classic game of whodunit, a research party located in Antarctica soon realize they've stumbled upon an alien who's able to make carbon copies of the humans it comes into contact with.
Yeah.
So, since this is your movie focus for the week, why did you pick this?
I had actually been planning on doing this movie for a while. I think I talked about it a couple times, like a couple of way back in our episodes. Mm-hmm. This is something I've actually wanted to review. So, because I haven't really seen it in so long, there's a lot of parts that I don't remember. But I could kind of just wanted to revisit it because it's. I remember enjoying it when I was younger, and I just wanted to, relive that experience. And it definitely didn't let me down.
It doesn't.
No, not at all.
Yeah, this is one of those films that are definitely like timeless.
Yeah.
From what is it, 80?
I think it was 85
or 83,
something like that. Yeah.
Maybe. It's amazing.
Yeah.
How these effects hold up. Probably because they are practical.
Yeah.
It's
everything's practical, right? Pretty much
everything.
Yeah.
Because I think I read into this a bit, and they said that they were using stop motion animation.
Oh yeah.
And that Carpenter would scrap those scenes because he thought they looked too fake.
Okay.
And even with the scene where the doctor gets his hands
bit off.
Yeah, they did that in one take, right? It took hours to set all that up, all the prosthetics and stuff, right? And he was like, "Oh no!" When those tentacles and everything squirt up and the yellow goo comes out, he was like, "Oh, this looks like a Las Vegas water fountain. Let's do it again."
Oh man!
So they had to cut and
hours of preparation again.
Yeah, prepare all that up again. And he was like, these things, you work really hard on these things, and sometimes they don't come out how you want them to. You got to do it again. But he was very unapologetic about doing that.
That's what makes a good director, having a specific vision and knowing what you want, really.
Or not settling for less and just.
Man, it's kind of what I wanted, so I guess we'll just do that. It's like, no, this shit looks stupid. Let's do it again and until we get it right.
Yeah.
And you're gonna fucking like it because you're getting paid to be here, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the film a little bit more in depth?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so the movie opens up with a dog kind of trying to evade this chopper, this Norwegian chopper, and they're trying to gun down the dog. And at first, you don't know exactly why. And basically the dog kind of takes refuge after what seems like a few miles.
Yeah,
they find a research camp.
Yeah.
And the guys from the research camp kind of come out to see what's going on, and the chopper guys land, and they don't speak English, I don't think.
No, they're just speaking Norwegian.
So there's like a language barrier there, which is convenient.
Yeah.
And they still try to gun down the dog, even though it's kind of ran behind these innocent people, and they end up firing on some of the researchers.
Yeah.
And so they get, upset, and basically they end up gunning down the Norwegian.
Yeah.
One of the only survivors.
And the other guy blows himself up.
Yeah.
Like a dumbass. He grabs a grenade, goes to throw it, and it slips out of his hand, and then he runs to it and tries to dig it out from the snow. It's kind of like, why don't you just run away from it and then just kill the dog instead of trying to... I don't know. That was kind of just stupid on their part.
It was like he saw the innocent people.
Yeah.
So he hesitated, and then the grenade falls out of his hand and goes deep into the snow, and instead of rolling out of the way like the other guy does,
yeah,
he stays and tries to dig it out for whatever reason, and so then both of the guys die.
Yeah. And
you never know why they were trying to gun down the dog. And so they keep the researchers keep the dog, and then we're introduced to basically all of our main characters.
The main cast, yeah.
One of them being McCready, a.k.a. Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Who was a pretty dashing dude back in his
heyday. Yeah.
Which I
Lady
feel
killer.
Like nobody seems to talk about that too much, as much as I would think,
It's all about Swayze.
Or De Niro in Taxi Driver. But anyway, where were we?
So the dog takes refuge after the two Norwegians die.
And it kind of, so the dog kind of wanders around the camp, and everybody kind of accepts it and doesn't really say much until you see this kind of ominous scene of the dog creeping around alone.
Yeah, he's kind of peeking into the rooms.
Yeah, and it's very kind of unsettling, and you see the shadow of this guy, and the dog kind of come in, and something goes down.
Yeah, it just kind of fades to black.
Something goes down, and we're not sure what it is, and then the next thing you know, all the cast are in the rec room, and the dog scares one of them, and they say, go put this mud in the cage with all the other dogs.
Yeah.
And so when...
Clark?
Is it Clark? Yes, yeah, because Clark... Yeah, you are correct.
Yes.
So Clark, he takes the dog, and because he's the kind of dog lover, dog wrangler, whatever.
Yeah.
Puts him in the kennel, and with the other dogs, and there's immediate kind of all the other dogs are standoffish.
Yeah, they kind of switch off. They were when he first puts the dog in there, it just lays down, and then he walks away, and then the other dogs kind of get up and they all start growling, and
they can sense that it's not
wrong, yeah.
And then we as the viewers find out that it's not a dog at all.
Yeah, its damn head splits open.
Looking like a demogorgon.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And it starts to pretty much attack their dogs.
Yeah.
And the dogs, it's kind of a sad scene. They're trying to get away. One of them is nipping at the fence, making a hole to get out, and it gets kind of sprayed with this goo. I don't know if it's...
I think it was like a digestive type of goo, because they showed it. I think the same dog laying on the ground, it's kind of like dissolving away. Yeah. And
it was, I guess, at that point, it's trying to merge with their dog, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it was trying to feed on it or make itself look like their dog.
Yeah.
After they But anyway, the Clark comes back in, and he figures out that there's something wrong, obviously, and he sees this big kind of creature, and then
he alarms everybody.
Yeah,
tells them basically, get over here. Something's going on.
McCready sees it on maybe like a surveillance camera or something,
Yeah.
and he breaks the fire alarm and gets everybody's attention, and then they go down there with the flamethrower, which is essential in this movie for sure. And they blast the creature.
Yeah.
But one of a piece of it gets away through the rafters, right?
Yeah.
And we don't know where that one goes. But then they get they burn it up, and then by that point there's a lot of paranoia that sets in. That's what this film gets right, is the paranoia that everybody starts to turn on each other.
Like a psychological kind of a thriller almost.
Because they have Blair basically doing the autopsy, and he figures out like, hey, this is like a life form from another planet, and it has this ability to kind of merge with us and copy our genetics. And do like an exact replica of us where you can't tell.
I think he said that it basically like it absorbs the whatever it attacks, and then it just duplicates it or copies it, and like you said, it's impossible to tell, because
it's like it mimics, it can speak, it can move, it can copy your mannerisms. It's actually quite amazing. I guess like that writing is like, that's the ultimate fear, what I mean?
Like not being able to tell,
because that's exactly, who's to say that's not what they say aliens do exist. We have no idea that they're not exactly like that, or they're not walking among us right now.
Ooh, spooky.
What happens after that?
So that's when Blair, he's kind of inputting all this stuff into his computer, and he's asking, what are the chances of someone in the camp being exposed, and it says like 75% chance, and he's like, what happens if this entity enters civilization, and then it says within 72,000 hours or something it would overtake the world, basically. And he basically loses his shit and kind of he's like destroying everything, any type of way that this creature could escape, because he believes that just because they killed the dog, he thinks that someone else was exposed.
That's why he asks Clark immediately, how long were you alone with the dog?
Yeah.
Because he's already aware, or he has this kind of theory, well, if this thing can replicate a dog, it can probably replicate you or you
like
or
a human, yeah.
Yeah, so then he's like, well, who's to say it's not, it doesn't already have Clark, and I'm talking to an alien right now. So then he kind of starts spinning all these different scenarios in his head and goes crazy, and he messes up the chopper, he messes up the tractor, he fucks up the communication room.
Yeah, so they're basically cut off from everything.
They have no way to leave.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he wanted, because he was like, everybody is compromised, and it's like he did like a makeshift quarantine on the people, so that they would all die and basically sacrifice. I think in his thought process, he was like, I'll sacrifice this team, and I'll save
the world,
save civilization as we know it, which is it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, of course, everybody kind of goes against Blair,
because they think he's lost his shit.
Yeah, they think they don't really get it, or they're not so easy to give up as Blair is. So they overpower him. They tie him up and they put him out in the
shed, basically
tool shed.
Yeah,
because they're not comfortable with him, because he tried to he pulled a pistol.
Yeah, and he was shooting at everybody.
He tried to shoot Childs.
Yeah.
And so they put him out, and by the time they come back in, who's the Next person.
That was the doctor, right?
Fugues.
Yeah.
With the